Hey everyone, Mac is back, and today we're going to go over more commanders from the Siege of Winterfell. And we're going to go, today is going to be Annie, Kravras, Rhea, Latz, and Julien. So let's get to it. Alright, so we're going to start with Annie today, and Annie has a rage cost of 650, which is a little bit on the higher side. Her cooldown is 12 seconds, which is the normal upper end for most commanders. Her buffs or her bonuses are the spear health, total defense, and total attack. So that just means that she's probably best in a spear lineup because of that spear health. But at the same time, if you're in a pinch and you want to put her in, maybe you like her ability or her skill really a lot better than other ones, then you can still put her in any lineup because she has the total attack and total defense. Now, for that ability, recovers wounded in the commanded troops at a healing coefficient of 800. Now, I'd like to compare that to, say, Seg, which was a coefficient of 80, but Selma was 660. So she's talking about 800, which in that aspect is so much better than Seg and even better than Selma. At the same time, increases the normal attack damage dealt by commanded troops by 70% for 5 seconds. So the normal attack damage is going to be increased here. So whatever the normal attack damage is, it's different than other commanders where they say they're increasing damage is if it's not normal attack damage. So in this aspect, I really like this. The rage is a little high for it, but that's kind of what you get when it comes to healing. So I think she's a really good healing commander because of that coefficient, also because of the total attack and defense that she has in there as well. Kravras, which is a free to play, which we've talked about before, 500 rage, very low, we like that. The cooldown 12 seconds, which is normal, specifically for a bow lineup at 240% bow attack, and its skill deals damage to the target troops, coefficient of 1700. So that's actually not too bad as well. 1700 is a pretty high number for him. So exclusively in your bow lineup, he's probably going to be in there because he looks like he does quite well compared to the others, but we'll get to that later. Now, when it comes to Rhea, we have a 500 rage, that's pretty low. We have the cooldown 12 seconds, which is the norm. Looking at her bonuses, she has total health and inf and cav attack. So very, very similar to, say, Selma. She'll have, you can use her in a true troop lineup because of the cav and the infantry. So that's something that you'll be able to decide later if you'd like to. I personally like to stick with mostly the mono lineups just because you can increase their bonuses, I think, a lot more by the specific commanders. Looking at her skill, recovers the wounded in the commanded troops, coefficient of 660, so exactly the same as Selma, and then the defense increased by 300%. So her and Selma right now have the exact same thing when it comes to everything overall. If we're looking even here, 512, 660 coefficient, and then increases the defensive troops by, this is cav spear, and this one is inf cav by 300%. So that's very good. You could actually combine these two. That is also a thought into like maybe a cav lineup. Might not be too bad as well. Or maybe if you're trying to go with 3 troop, haven't seen anybody do that yet, but maybe you want to go 3 troops. You do that, then these two commanders would be pretty decent as well. Moving on to Latz, she's a 650 rage, which is a little bit high. The cooldown is 12 seconds, which is normal. And then looking at, she's pure infantry, so if you do have an infantry lineup, her bonuses are outstanding at 320% across the board, which is very good. And then once she does get her skill off, it increases infantry attack, defense, and health, all 3 of those, by 900% for 5 seconds. So we talked about before how, I want to say it was it Arya? No, it was here. So it was Layla who had 900% cav attack for 5 seconds. Well, looking at Latz, that's even more. Now we're talking not just the attack, you're talking the defense and the health on top of that, plus the bonus that you get. She'll be a staple in your infantry lineup almost certainly, I would think, because of the amount of damage that she does. Now, something to consider with her is that if you want to use one of those higher price commanders that you don't have gold, and you're losing out on a lot of the stats, the bonuses, then Latz would be a perfect one to have in that lineup because she'd be able to buff them so they'd be able to last longer, and you'll still be able to get the bonus, the skill from the higher price commander. Like, for instance, say like Danny and Cersei and Baelish and all them. So those are the ones basically I'm talking about. And last but not least in this run is Julien, rage cost of 500, which is actually a little bit on the lower end, which is nice, or low to mid, I guess. 12 seconds cooldown, which is the norm. And then see how we know Julien to be. He's all commanders, so maybe even a combination. Thinking here, I'm going to do at the very end of this series of videos is putting commanders together, putting lineups together. So with Salma and Rhea, you could put those two together and then add on Julien, and you could also get bonuses for like a 3-troop lineup if you're looking at something like that. I haven't tried this. Maybe I will at some point, but that's very nice. And then his skill is it deals damage, skill damage. See, there's different damage. We're talking normal attack damage. This is dealing skill damage, a coefficient of 1,000 to enemy troops in a circular area, max of 3 troops. And I've talked about this in the free-to-play one. If it has a max of 3 troops, which some of these commanders do, that's really, really good. So this is a good skill. And at the same time, increases spear defense of the command troop by 50% for 6 seconds, which is absolutely awful. So definitely don't, 50% and you're talking defense is awful. However, that circular area of 3 troops, enemy troops, is very, very good. So you're talking a lot of damage for Julien. So I think he might be one of those commanders you're going to have in your lineup for. You could do it for a mono lineup for any infantry, cav, or spear. But at the same time, if you have a dual lineup or a triple lineup here of these, he's almost certainly going to be in one of those. So until next time, Mac out.